Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, today is the day that you have long been waited for.
Please, fix it.
Okay, let me describe to you.
You're butchering of English.
No, I'm using proper...
Are you raising your hand? Oh,
I'm using proper English for the message that I am trying to communicate. Because they have not been waiting for us. We have waited for them.
So that's
what that means.
So then you say it is the day that we have long waited for.
No.
If you say
it's the day that you as a... Alan, help me.
Verily, it is the day that we have awaited.
Exactly.
Okay.
Verily. Clink, what did you want to do?
I wanted
Not that.
So when I point at you, just say Star Crash. Or because you watch Star Crash, okay? Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's...
Because you watched...
Oh, come on, man. Oh.
Whoosh.
Wait,
because you watched Star Crash.
Dude, the direction you didn't give me, how do we know?
Okay, I'm sorry.
You
feed off my energy.
What's my motivation?
You're supposed to feed off my energy.
Hey, Clink, just shut up and read the line. Hi, Gal. We miss you. We love you.
Man.
Come on our show.
I read that article, too, about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the last time we're doing it this time because you watched Star Crash, a place where me, Mike Vanderpool, relives my childhood dreams and current childhood dreams. Along with my friend Michael Clink and my friend Alan Barris. And someone who makes way too much money for the work that they do, JC, the producer, Shirley. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome back. Part deuce. Part 2, number 2. We'll call it number 2.
Oh, yes.
As we discuss the Snyder Cut, which is a phenomenal film. Last week, we went over a whole bunch of good things about this movie. Alan kind of had a couple things that he was irritated with. But today, we're going to continue on because 4 hours of a film, 4 hours and 2 minutes of a film, justifies at least 2 hours of our time.
Yes.
Can I make a request that we just leave all of the intro in?
No.
Everything we did.
I tried to, but then Clink says, hey, I should really take that out. I'm like, yeah, Clink, you're smarter than me, so I will. Where did we leave off last week, Alan? Last week on Because You Watched Star Crash?
Whoosh.
Do you remember, Alan?
Don't remember. I wrote the show notes and I don't remember.
Alan was spitting a bunch of vitriol about how much he hated the existence of this film and DC Comics in general. And
I complained about HBO. We talked about
All right, so we've got Humans Always Bury Our Part of the Magical MacGuffin, questions about the origins of the Amazons, because you're wondering where they came from. Modern DC heroes are the new gods. And we ended by discussing what superpowers we'd want.
Oh, yes. And I wanted to fly. Because I believe I can fly.
Hey,
So
copyright.
The chairman has read the minutes from the last
Thank
meeting.
you. Do we get a motion to approve the minutes?
we're not.
Motion to adjourn.
F you, Robert. Or whose rules are they?
Robert's Rules
It's
of Order.
Robert's rules.
Robert. F you, Robert, and your rules. We have no rules here on Star Crash because we watched it.
Whoosh.
What did you... Jeez.
I am just so... I'm actually going to give a comparison. Last week, I think we did a really good job. We'll call that the Vander Cut. This week, we're everything up, and we're going to call it the Clean Cut.
Why me?
Because I like Alan.
Shirley's right there.
Okay, we'll call this the Barris Cut. Anyway, so yeah, let's, there may be some overlap today just because there will be, but I think where we might have left off is a whole bunch of WTF moments because we know from our illustrious producer, Shirley, that things are better when the things that we watch suck. And there are a lot of things that suck about this movie, even though I really still enjoyed it. And I think that's a testament to how good this movie is, because it rises above the stupidity in my mind.
All right, in that case, let's begin with the core weakness of the entire Snyderverse. And I think this might be slightly unfair, but no, not really. Lex Luthor.
Okay, let's talk about
how
him.
much Jesse Eisenberg is the worst Lex Luthor ever. I'm even looking at Kevin Spacey and going, oh my God, you are so much better than this guy.
Well, Kevin Spacey did a Gene Hackman impersonation.
Right. And even with that, it's still better.
You know it's bad when you decide to cast Kevin Spacey instead of somebody else.
Well, this is before people...
before.
Yeah.
Just still.
Anyways, so Jesse Eisenberg's character in Batman v Superman was very much kind of the crazy genius kind of guy. He was trying to be eccentric and evil eccentric, and it really didn't work for what Lex Luthor is, how we know Lex Luthor now.
Right, in any of his incarnations.
Like a Zuckerberg caricature, I think.
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
that's exactly what they were going for, and it's miserable.
And then at the
and the real problem is that when you combine his failure with Jared Leto's failure, spoiler, we're going to talk about him later on too. They sound exactly the same.
Okay, so
they don't look the same.
No, they do not.
No, they don't. But they sound exactly the same. Their delivery is that same really annoying, slowed down. I'm mocking you, Batman. I'm not going to say it because we promised we were not going to work as Blue this week.
Who the is that?
Work as Blue.
You know what Blue means?
No.
I was told that we were going to take all the last week.
Oh, no, we've got a lot of this week, Alan.
All right,
video version. That's
I'm going to take of the videos because...
Well, I'll complain about the Joker later. Let's focus on Luthor now. So what do we know about Lex Luthor, Clink?
In this movie, at the end of Justice League, we find out during the movie sometime that Lex Luthor escaped Arkham Asylum. And in Batman v Superman, he's in the prison, and then it turns out that Batman pulled some strings and then had him transferred to Arkham Asylum because he was, quote-unquote, unfit for trial because he was mentally unstable or whatever.
Because no one ever escapes Arkham Asylum.
Exactly. But anyways, so he escapes Arkham Asylum. We see him at one of the stinger ends, or one of the multiple endings, and he's sitting there on his giant yacht with a bunch of bodyguards around. He's got his head shaved and everything. He seems more reserved, more classic Luthor. So it seems like Snyder is...
He still has his terrible voice, which...
I mean, that's his natural voice, though. It's not going to be... We're not going to change his
highlighting the whole problem with the Enterprise. But anyway, continue.
Well, but just in general, though, this Luthor as a character does not work in this universe because
he's
Superman...
not scary. He's not intimidating. He's not...
There's nothing he can do that is a viable threat to Superman in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Well, he can come up with yet another combination of kryptonite, or I don't know, hire someone with magic to kill old soups. Which
but after we get through this idea of a demon, not demon, but whatever. I almost said Thanos. Whatever dark side or Dasades, and then now to go and try to present at the end like Luthor is this threat along with Cable. What's the guy's name? That he's talking to at the end?
Deathstroke.
That's Marvel's Cable, right?
Now, I'm going to say the only nice thing about DC in this entire podcast, as far as my perspective, number one, Thanos is originally a ripoff of Darkseid, and Deadpool, my beloved, beautiful Deadpool, is a ripoff of Deathstroke.
Yes.
So let's just get that established
right from
the beginning. DC
Cable's X-Men. He's Scott Summers' son from the future.
But it's almost like, hey, an asteroid's going to hit the Earth, and everybody got to freak out. And now the thing we're afraid of is like a termite. It's just dumb. So anticlimactic.
The Batman v Superman plot, the Ultimate Edition, really hits this because the theatrical edition really didn't do a good job with this. But the entire time, Lex Luthor knows that Clark Kent is Superman. He knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He knows all these other people, their secret identities. And he ultimately makes a series of plays to try and get the government to let him have some sort of weapon against Superman. Mm-hmm. And then he tries to get it to where he turns the public against Superman. He's trying to do that. Ultimately, he tries to get Batman to fight Superman so that Superman can kill Batman, or Batman could use his knowledge to kill him. So he's trying to use the other people. He's trying to use everybody as pawns.
Oh, so by hijacking and controlling all media, he's going to destroy all good? So he is Zuckerberg.
Jeez. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's similar to Civil War.
Hi, Mark.
Where Civil War, you had Zemo.
If you want successful Facebook ads, it is really advisable to not insult the CEO. Just saying.
Oh, everybody else does. What's he going to do?
In Civil War, Zemo tried to bring down the Avengers by having the two biggest Avengers fight each other.
But you see, allow me to underline the big problem there. Let's ask a random person who watched Civil War. So, hey, did you remember any of those scenes with Zemo in them? And they'll go, huh?
Who?
And Here's our problem. Baron Zemo was largely forgettable as the manipulator in Civil War, and Lex Luthor is ultimately forgettable here, which is a horrifying sin because he's the big human bad, and his motivation should be at least recognizable to us. And I just want to punch Luthor here. He's not scary. He's not intriguing. He's just annoying as fuck.
How would you
terrible?
I'm going to argue that the best Lex Luthor is from the Lego video games, because he's in like this suit that actually gives him some legitimate powers and abilities, right?
Well, that and also it's to fight his cancer that he has, because he carries around kryptonite all the time, and from that radiation he eventually gets cancer. And he actually uses kryptonite to power that suit so he can actually be superpowered. But he's also trying to save his own life with that. It's a whole thing.
I've got a list pulled up here of
a strangely Iron Man derived plot there. But anyway,
I had a list pulled up.
You should raise your hand if you want to talk.
I'll just mute all of you. I have a list pulled up of the best.
The audience would thank you.
Yes, they would. Of who people think the best Joker actors are. Gene Hackman is one.
Joker.
You mean
or
Lex Luthor?
Whoever the frick this guy is. I don't even care.
Everyone's going to go with Hackman because Hackman's great in anything, regardless of whether he's great. People just love Gene Hackman.
There's Clancy Brown from the animated series.
Yes.
So, but can you... So,
Clancy Brown.
There's this big, huge...
and then Michael Rosenbaum is the...
He played the Flash in the animated series, too.
There's a whole bunch of, because I saw this on Twitter, there's a whole who's the best Lex Luthor, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And in this, especially in DC, because it feels like their animated properties are better than their live-action properties.
Definitely, yes.
I've always maintained this.
That when we talk about the best actor, we're automatically including voice actors, which I don't know if that's fair. But I guess it is.
Well, with voice acting, you have to do all the work with your voice. You can't do any sort of emoting.
I get it, but it just feels weird, right? Because it just feels weird.
Hey, Barris, who's the best?
Frequently drop into the background too, because how many people knew that Mark Hamill did the Joker's voice originally?
That's true.
Yeah,
but who's the best?
Clancy Brown, for that matter.
Barris, who's the best Batman voice?
And I love Clancy Brown.
Who's the best Batman voice?
I'm blanking on the animated series guys. Kevin Conroy.
Best Batman voice ever, and he's known for that.
Will Arnett.
He's good too. Yeah. But
again, animated.
Kevin Conroy.
Both animated. Yeah.
But Conroy also does a good. He's probably the best balance between Batman and Bruce Wayne too, which is the complicated part of that character.
So going back to Lex Luthor, Vanderpool, do you know the history of Lex Luthor?
He had hair one day, and then he must have taught enough Composition 1 classes to where it all fell out.
No, okay, so Paris, do you know the history of Lex Luthor, that the character and the types he was at all?
I know that he lost. I seem to recall his hair loss was some kind of experimental accident, if I remember right.
Probably something.
I've seen it where it was caused by Superman in some scenario, right?
Yeah, but
Jason.
The point is, he started out in comics as a mad scientist.
Okay. Right.
So he's the mad scientist. He's the fringe guy, the guy that does stuff, but he's super smart. And then later on, he morphed into the corporate CEO type guy. And then there's some
taking on aspects of the Kingpin in that case, because that's when he put on weight.
A little bit.
He was a big guy.
There were some versions of that where he was a big guy and other versions where he's fit. And then later on going into a politician where he ultimately became president.
Well, but in the Christopher Reeve Superman, he is an overambitious real estate investor.
Yeah, that's
just was that anywhere in the?
No.
Okay.
But
no, he's a parody in that case. I mean, he's there to be like when you cast Gene Hackman, you're casting a guy to be like 25% sinister and then 75% crazy, or vice versa.
The irony, Alan, there is that Gene Hackman and his bumbling sidekick and his female friend are very similar to Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
The role of Skeletor plays.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I just because I'm watching that Master of the Universe documentary that's pretty good.
But now, if we but now if we go to those type of things where mad scientists were kind of the beginning in the 40s and the 50s, a little bit in the 50s, and then we go on to corporate America, and then we go on to the political America. If you're going back to this, then yes, the Zuckerberg metaphor would work. Because that's kind of what we're going for.
Superman is standing for all that's good, and Luthor is a representation of what is perceived as evil of the time.
So
is what you're saying.
Corporate America. Yeah. So I could see it like that, and I could see that sort of translation coming through with this. And then
you can play that character without playing him as Mark Zuckerberg or a really irritating version of Mark Zuckerberg. You could play him as John McAfee, for example, who is a legitimately terrifying human being.
I can't remember which Transformers movie it was, but where was it Patrick Dempsey's character? Remember when he was
Patrick Dempsey?
He was in like Transformers 3 or 4 or whatever one it was of the modern ones. And he is actually siding with the Decepticons.
Yeah.
And he was protected in that relationship.
That loser. Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey was in? Dreamy Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, McDreamy was in one of the Transformers.
I never saw that one. Wow.
Yes, it's in the first one that Megan Fox is not in.
Oh, see, I never saw that one. I want to say right now.
Imagine why you wouldn't have seen that.
I want to put on record right now that I would side with Patrick Dempsey. Because he's dreamy.
Yes. I mean, he was in Loverboy, which
exactly.
now that I've said Loverboy, we can do Loverboy next season.
Can't Buy Me Love.
That doesn't hold up as much, dude.
Really?
It doesn't.
Right.
It sucks, man. But
That's
real.
sad.
But that in this movie, with the way that they ended Batman v Superman, with Luthor warning about Darkseid, correct? It would have seemed like they could have made Luthor more menacing, more powerful, more something other than a whiny little freaking rich spoiled kid by giving him some relationship with those people.
Those people.
The bad guys, Steppenwolf and Darkseid.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well,
there was something that and I think the trope is the space invaders are going to provide some level of power to a human who helps them enslave the other humans. That's how it was in Transformers.
So you have different levels of villains. So you have the strength, the muscle, who's usually not very bright. So Steppenwolf would have been not super bright, but he's super strong and durable. And he's got a lot of experience.
Desaad, as far as we know, is just brains and not necessarily brawn. He's more like a wizardy guy anyway.
Yeah, kind of talking his way through things.
He does kind of have that is it Rodan? Is it Rodan, the statue pose? He's got
the thinker?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rodan. But then you have Luthor, who's supposed to be the brains.
Clink.
Right.
Did he just talk about art?
He did. Let's move on.
Art used to be real.
Anyways,
I feel like
you have Luthor, who's supposed to be the brains, and the brains then can create all these different scenarios and all these different things like chess, and so that could hurt the heroes, because he could ultimately have the public on his side, possibly, or that could be a different sort of threat. Then I'm going to punch my way through this, which usually happens with superhero movies.
It feels like if Luthor isn't in this movie, it's a better movie because he contributes nothing at all.
I think he sets up, but yeah, he's just like Aquaman. He would set up for the Legion of Doom, possibly, or just the Batman
continuation of the franchise into the
continuation.
future.
Yes, but also the Batman movie where Deathstroke knows about Batman being Bruce Wayne, because everybody does in this universe. It's crazy how many people know. But yeah, so Lex Luthor could be like Aquaman and the Atlanteans. You take that out, it's a better movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Except the one scene in the Atlanteans thing where Mara's trying to stop Steppenwolf, and she bends the water out of his face.
Yes.
And then the blood that was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But other than that, everything else
was pretty cool.
So is this a better movie?
Which would have been okay, except for every time I saw that bubble appear up to that point, it had been stupid. So now I was just automatically associating it with being stupid. So
yeah.
And it's funny. So I was watching the movie last night with the captions on, and how the community it's called trilling. They're trilling.
What does that mean?
TRILLI. I can't say that.
Like a dolphin?
I think so. That's when they make their whatever noises.
Okay.
That's
to produce a
trilling.
quavering or warbling sound.
Yeah, trilling. And now you know. So,
Any other gripes, sir? Any other gripes, Doctor?
I mean, that's it, Alan. Hey, see you next time Because You Watched Star Crash.
Bye, folks.
So I'm not arguing with the positioning of Luthor in the story. He could have been made more central to this movie. The way he operates in Batman v Superman, a major Supreme Court case, is perfectly fine. It's just that the casting and the writing of Luthor is what I'm objecting to. They're just executing the character in a way that does not work.
So you're saying the character itself is fine, just the way he's talking, the way he does, the way he operates, the way he looks, the way he acts, the way he talks, everything about that's bad. But he's fine.
No, his operation is a plot device.
Yeah.
The idea that his machinations are what draw these titans into opposition is perfectly fine. But then there's the issue. I refuse to rewatch any of this. So Clink, I'm going to have to nominate you, my man, for investigating.
You should totally investigate yourself, sir. Come on.
What is Luthor's reason for allying with Steppenwolf and Darkseid? What is his reasoning for doing that? Because I can think of an excellent reasoning for it.
It's not going to be.
I don't think Zack Snyder can. So let's put him to the test.
Okay, so first off, it's to bring the big bad to Earth so that you can have the Justice League form. But anyways, in universe,
right.
You have Luthor taking Zod's body and manipulating it genetically to create, not Apocalypse.
Doomsday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So Doomsday. And so because he genetically manipulated Doomsday, he found out that there's a whole bunch of other things that he could look at and research in this Kryptonian ship with all this computer and all this knowledge. So then from that, he probably went poking through the wrong stuff, and then he probably sent out a signal or whatever. And then that's when you see at the end of Batman v Superman, you see him in the water talking with Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf was trying to explain things to him. So he probably said, hey, yeah, you should totally come down to Earth.
But it feels like Luthor there should have been playing the role of master manipulator that I don't feel like we got.
One of the key elements of Luthor's character as it's developed over the years is his deep hatred of Superman.
Yes.
Which is very related to Batman's antipathy towards Superman too, in that both have a resentment of Superman as an indication of human weakness, ultimately. Mm-hmm. That Bruce Wayne is always planning for the situation in which Clark loses control and starts killing a whole bunch of people, as apparently he will do at the drop of a hat. So apparently we always need Batman's contingency plans in that case. Luthor seems to doubt the idea that, or he thinks of Superman as a challenge to his superiority, ultimately. He is no longer special because this godlike thing has descended. So the issue there then becomes, so why is he allying with creatures that are even more humbling to the human experience than Superman would be in order to defeat his ally? Now, again, I can come up with reasoning, but I'm not seeing that part of the story yet. Like, is this just a grudge against Superman? Is this just a desire for personal power? Or is there something else going on?
I see it as, well, in Batman v Superman, he said, he's talking about a painting where demons are coming up and angels are coming down. And he said that painting should be flipped upside down because the demons are coming from up above. So right. Superman being an alien, then I see it as, one, his ego is so much so that he thinks he can manipulate things. You even see it where he's told he can't have the shipping rights or the customs go through of the kryptonite rock. And he then threatens somewhat the senator, and he tries to bribe his way through, and he tries to use other means.
Right.
And then, so with that, he's trying to manipulate behind the scenes. Then you have the actual aliens trying to manipulate, or it seems like he might be trying to manipulate the alien Steppenwolf and everything behind the scenes too, of, yeah, you should come down here. There's a Kryptonian, but you could totally take him out. And then from that, he can worry about, because he feels his intellect is so much so that he could possibly manipulate them out of the way as well.
And that's usually the way it works. That's a trope that we've seen in other places as well, is the human is going to ally with the alien invader in the hopes of actually being able to flip the script at the end. But then it usually works out that they get double crossed.
Yeah.
Come to the quadruple cross or whatever that would be.
Although ultimately,
but that's not set up here at all. I don't think.
Although ultimately, our God's alien.
Yeah.
This brings us into, of course, the new gods.
Oh, yeah.
So the new gods that are mentioned here, we've already talked about the idea that superheroes are treated as deities in the DC universe in particular. But we would be remiss to overlook the fact that we actually have a group of creatures referred to as, very specifically, the new gods showing up in this movie.
And who are they specifically?
Darkseid is probably the best known of the new gods, but Steppenwolf, Desaad, his underlings.
Granny goodness.
And then we also get Mr. Miracle. We get my beloved Big Barda, who is not in this, which is another reason that Snyder is dead to me. If you are going to put you're going to try and cram every other character in the DC universe into this, you'd better sure as hell include some of the other new gods, because that's arguably one of the most interesting parts of DC. Goofy and weird, but given a certain level of, I don't know, gravitas by Jack Kirby's art.
Yes. But also
the same way that I am more than willing to put up with stupidity in the Marvel universe, because their art's so much better for the most part. And again, it's Kirby who's the bridging point between the two. That's when DC gets classed up for a bit.
You give them another 4 hours for 2 more movies each, and they'll do that eventually. Yeah, you'll get that.
Well, he could have put that in instead of yet another extended Atlantean sequence.
That's true.
But I think this is again where, and we could bang on this drum all day, where DC failed versus Marvel is Marvel took the time to build their universe correctly. DC was just like,
well, DC had plans.
No, they didn't.
According to the lore,
they had a cyborg movie in conception, didn't they? For starters.
Yes, but they didn't have Kevin Feige, the runner, the leader, I guess, of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, had, after a while, actually had a plan of bringing people together, having a connected universe. The Warner Brothers, so there's always people talking about the DCEU, the Detective Comics Extended Universe, whatever. Warner Brothers never said that. They never had a name for it. They never had thought about it. If you watch the Aquaman movie, it has nothing to do with Justice League. It's its own separate movie. Wonder Woman feels like its own separate movie, especially with 1984. It feels like a separate kind of universe, even though Gal Gadot is trying to do the similar things with it, character-wise. Shazam's not in this at all. But so it seems like they're having these standalone movies, and then they want to have the build-up, and they want to have the Avengers, but they don't want to do the work, and they don't want to spend the money. They want that sweet shot of the going around the Avengers. Natasha's cocking her gun.
The Acura commercial, because I believe that was all around an Acura that had a nice position logo placement. Yeah,
it was
MDX. Acura MDX.
Yeah, but so that was that's like that splash shot. But they were trying to get that without having the build up to, oh, this is cool because they're all coming together. No, it's, hey, this is cool because there are superheroes there.
And that's why I think some of the stuff was forced and felt forced and stupid, like Mimosa or Merman, whatever his name is, coming in and being kind of a jerk face.
Yeah.
And the
Aquabro?
Aquabro, is that what they call it?
Right.
And then what they cut from the Joey Whedon version of the animosity between Batman and Wonder Woman, that was dumb and forced and didn't feel was completely out of place. Yeah. What have you been doing?
Well, the romantic undertones of, let me get that for you. Oh, let me hurt you. Hurt your back. Okay.
Speaking of something totally irrelevant to what we're talking about right now, but it did include Wonder Woman. I really enjoyed how the terrorists at the beginning of this movie, who are coming in to blow up the block and Wonder Woman saves the day, whatever. I like how that wasn't actually connected to the story directly.
It's kind of showing everybody what they were doing. Like, this is what everybody's doing.
But it wasn't like, you know how we talk about this movie all the time, like the contrivances and connections and everything has to be connected. So like, and when it's so blatant and obvious, it feels dumb sometimes, even though it has to be blatant and obvious to be part of the story.
Yeah.
That wasn't connected. It wasn't like Luthor didn't set it up. It wasn't a reveal later that it was part of anybody's other plot. It was just like this thing that I think if we talk about Luthor being the big bad and how technology, the mother boxes being, I think, the epitome of all technology, kind of, sort of, with their connection to what they created from Cyborg, kind of, sort of, right? Then a line, one of the only 2 quotes I have in this movie, the terrorists say that they want to bring things back to the Dark Ages.
Yes.
That's like the really only connection into the story itself. I just felt that was cool, that it didn't have to be so on the nose, like this is part of the master plan. Made the universe feel a little bit bigger.
Said, this is a here's what they were. This is like a day in the life of Wonder Woman, weirdly enough. It's that and her sculpting in that pristine white dress that, again,
she was cleaning the sculpture.
That's what she does.
She was cleaning the sculpture. Was in sculpting.
I really did have
which isn't messy at all, right?
Maybe she was using bleach, so if she got it on her, it was going to be okay.
There we go, yeah.
I did have an honest-to-goodness WTF moment there outside of the initial 4:3 aspect ratio, and that gave me my first, Alan, you and I had our fastest WTF moment ever in a film. When, in that terrorist scene, where he's going to, the terrorist is going to gun down the group of girls, schoolgirls look like, and there was a man there who just yells, "No!" I'm like, dude, I don't want to be sexist, but grow up hair and go try to freaking stop this guy from shooting the girls. No! I was just like...
The problem I had with that scene... Well, one, I love the scene because it shows... before all this, Wonder Woman wasn't doing her thing. We're supposed to think... If you take the Wonder Woman movie, she goes from World War I all the way to the present day without interfering, without saving people, without doing stuff. If you don't think of 1984, Wonder Woman 1984... So she's not doing a superhero thing. She's just kind of living her life. She's still sad about losing the love of her life and everything.
Yes.
But then Doomsday comes around. Superman and Batman are trying to fight it. Then she comes in and she's like, okay, I have to do something now because this is ridiculous. And then from that, it seems like she's inspired by Superman and by Batman to come out and actually then save and be a participant in the world.
Did I miss that? Like, revelation in the story, or is this just something that you're piecing together because
it just
that's set up by Batman v Superman.
Okay. I try to forget that movie, sorry.
But the problem
same, but still, I mean, it is there, to be fair.
So that was the first DC movie I ever watched, Batman v Superman.
Oh, jeez.
It ruined
my condolences.
It ruined me for DC.
But the problem I have with that...
Speaking of condolences, let me do a quick reset.
Oh, jeez.
Me, Mike Vanderpool, I do things. Michael Klink, the adjunct, to my left, and Dr. Alan Barris out in virtual land, floating head. I'm going to put it somewhere in the video. We are here because we watched
Whoosh.
Star Crash. That was the worst reset ever. Let's move on.
During the terrorist scene with Wonder Woman.
That's why you don't do that, dude, because then it gets in my head and F's it all up, Shirley. He IM'd me, do a reset, and I'm like, dude, don't tell me how to do my job.
All right. Can we pause here for a second?
Yes.
Resets don't make sense in podcasts. Because you're not just tuning in. You're listening to a recording that says you're listening to a podcast.
But if it's he's got a point, Shirley.
Do you want to do commercial breaks or not?
Oh, yeah. Would you like to buy a pillow?
If you're talking to a person.
Well,
because then you remind people of who you're conversating.
That, or it's useful if you're on a radio show.
Definitely.
Radio. Well,
For those of you just tuning in. Anyways, we're going to cut all this off.
No, I'm not. I'm leaving it all.
I'm making a note that we're going to cut this off.
Okay.
The Wonder Woman scene with the terrorists.
Oh, we're still there?
We're still there. I'm trying to get through it.
Go on.
She saves... First off, I like how she does the reflection of the bullets with really fast, because usually we see it slow motion, and it's really nice to see.
And that was a really great... That was the first good use of slow motion in the movie, because, again, the key trick to slow motion is slow, then fast.
Yes.
Then you kick into action from it. And that's where we get the actual contrast between the slow motion and speed that works nicely. And since just about everybody in this damn universe, pretty much all the characters here move faster than humans as a general thing.
Yeah.
It's good that we finally get a picture of that speed on Wonder Woman's behalf.
Remember when we talked about the Incredible Hulk, one of the episodes I lost? Well, actually, we didn't lose that one. The sound cut in and got really, really gross. We had some audio technical difficulties, but like that
Season 2.
Rewatching that again, the Incredible Hulk TV show and things, the slow motion just made it worse. When he was doing,
it's terrible. It's not.
I was trying to show the power, but they had no budget.
But it becomes ridiculous instead. Yeah.
But anyways, I liked how she was reflecting the bullets that way. And then we get to the point, though, where the terrorists are trying to blow up the building. They're not going to make any demands or anything. They just want to blow up the building. So then she saves all the people. She's faster than a bullet. Dude's reloading after he shoots all the bullets at the people, and she blocks them all. She could easily have gone across the space and taken him out somehow. But she blows up part of that building. She's killed so many people so far, though. Like, she kicked the guy at the wall, and all you saw was just like a red spot. It was awesome. But anyways, she kills that guy when she could have easily just incapacitated him some other way.
Yeah. And again, I think that's where some of the Snyder's love of visual effects hurt this movie.
Because then there's a hat floating because that guy had that hat on.
I suppose.
Yeah. There are 8 minutes of credits in this, opening credits.
Opening credits?
Opening credits. The stars go on for 8 minutes. That just seems like a long time to me.
As a percentage of the whole, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, like, just a normal movie, what, it's like 3-4 minutes, maybe tops?
Well, hell, Dark Knight Returns, not Dark Knight Returns, The Dark Knight doesn't even start with credits. It's that opening scene on the roof, and it's action time. Let's go.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. Is very similar to what was that Charlton Heston movie where the bomb's in the trunk at the beginning? Spoiler alert. Oh, geez, Touch of Evil? Something like that.
Oh, yeah. The Orson Welles? Yeah.
Yep, I think that was one of the... I can't say that.
I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
So, are we done with the terrorist scene? Because I got something I got to bring up.
Okay.
If you're going to make a movie, and you want to have the baddest of the bads, it's going to be the Nazis. Right? Are they the most evil people in the world ever? Because they're in Indiana Jones, they're in the Marvel universe, they're in the DC universe. Like, it's like the mother box. They had to find a way to sneak Nazis into this movie just to, like, by association, show how evil this thing is. And does that show up anywhere else in, I guess, media, culture, whatever, Alan? I mean,
mother boxes? What are you talking about?
No, about the Nazis, like all the it just feels like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just wrote down a note. God, Nazis again.
Well, Nazis are the go-to evil. Yeah, because Indiana Jones, all the Indiana Joneses with Nazis, every time a Nazi died or every time the Nazis were the bad guys, you didn't feel bad for them at all. Mm-hmm. The newest Indiana Jones for the Crystal Skull, I kind of felt bad for the Soviets because you know what happens to them. They crumble from the inside and they're ultimately on the wrong side, but they don't know that they're on the wrong side. And but the Nazis just screw them.
Well, then if they run away, their commissar's going to kill them. So
yeah, exactly.
Really they're just really bad. But Nazis are shorthand for bad guys, and they're one of the few groups that, until relatively recent years, we could all agree on were evil, and actually that. Editorialism aside, even the people I would accuse of being Nazis these days, they still hate Nazis. They just think the other side is Nazis now.
Yes.
So we're all conditioned to hate Nazis, or as The Simpsons parodied them as commie Nazis in a extended McBain sequence. They're just generic bad guys. And that's why the Empire in Star Wars is so Nazified.
Yeah,
the ones who aren't wearing full face masks are still like, this guy's got a high British accent. Kill him.
Exactly.
He's obviously a bad guy.
Yeah, because you don't have to spend all this time writing a character that you have to build hatred for.
I get it, but there was already so many comparisons and similarities to what Marvel had done that it just felt like it didn't have to be. There's been other bad groups of people in the history of our world that they could have.
It goes back to what Clink said about 15 minutes earlier. They wanted the same performance of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they just didn't want to put in the same work that Marvel did.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, enough about the Nazis. Let's move on.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Can I?
Yep.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
No.
Because last time I stole your bit from you, and now you're stealing it back.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Anyways,
go on with the chlorophyll.
So, from a movie standpoint, making movies, shooting movies, blocking it, whatever. it seems like throughout all my time with you two, you guys have known a lot more about the technical background side of this. This movie, in your opinions, technically speaking, is it shot well? Is it blocked well? What are your thoughts on those?
It's shot. I think it's shot well. I think it's blocked well. I think the editing is not great.
Well, how so?
Because there's I'll
have to defer to Vanderpool on this one. I will only notice shots when they're really obviously bad or obviously good, and most of the time obviously good. I mean, if it's something that'll really catch my attention. And I don't know, I mean, Snyder is a visual director. He's got a signature style, and it resonates with people, so I'm not even going to complain about it today. I will complain about the CGI, but that's an entirely separate
that's something else. Yeah.
So Vanderpool.
Well, so to go back to the 4:3, and this is something I read or saw or whatever somewhere, is like, outside of just the IMAX, one of the things that Snyder wanted to convey was the verticality of the heroes. Mm-hmm. The moving up, the up and down, and not necessarily to the left and right, although we could argue the Flash verticality or horizontal movement is where he's best.
But Superman's always the focus of these stories.
Yeah. So that 4:3 put it in a position to where everything could be more filmed up and down and better illustrated, for lack of a better word, up and down. Whether or not that's true, or whether it was IMAX, or whether it was budget and rendering time, who the F really knows, right? Hollywood tells us bullshit stories all the time.
Of course.
But one of the things that I noticed, and again, you would only, very, very rarely do you ever say, wow, that was a great edit. The only time I remember ever doing this, Alan, was a few weeks ago when we talked about, or whatever it was, last season, I think, when we talked about Natural Born Killers.
Yes.
Because of everything that was happening in Natural Born Killers, the edit stood out because it was amazing.
Well, it was an MTV style edit job, in that everything's quick and frenetic, and that kind of editing. I mean, we're trained to see that as editing. Like when I think of a good editing job, I'm a child of the 90s. I think of that kind of frenetic editing.
And where the conventions of how things are framed, like the amount of headroom that's in there, how you would do a 2-shot, how you would do it over the shoulder, how you would do a low shot where you position the camera, like, it's all done by the book in this movie. I don't even think there's a Dutch angle in this movie that would even still be by the book, but would be seen as something that would stand out and be noticeable, right?
But there's nothing that would call for that, except maybe the Batman dream sequence.
Yep.
I mean, but other than that, there's no like wacky part. There's no part where it's supposed to be disjointed or anything.
So because none of that stood out to me with regarding to like what they were showing or how characters were moving or how characters were framed, I'm going to just say, Clink, that those things of the blocking and the shot composition, it was fine. Everything was good and by the book and how it was supposed to be. The editing, though, I did notice, and I mentioned this last time, there are excessive shots in this film that did not add to the story. Yeah. A great example. So I couldn't find the one I was thinking about. It's near the end. Last time what I thought about was there's a back and forth between Cyborg and somebody, and I can't remember, and they get Cyborg's reaction, then they cut maybe to the Flash or whoever the freak it was, and the visual or the emotion, the story point is made, and then they actually cut back to Cyborg with the same reaction, no line, no nothing. That's what I would determine as excessive. Last night when I watched this again, or part of it again, an excessive shot that I saw, which should have been edited out, and again, you really only notice bad edits, was, and it's a great scene, and it gets ruined because of it, when they go to the bat signal. Okay. And it ends with everybody, they're all there, Aquaman, Batman, Wonder Woman, I think that's it, and the Flash are there talking to Gordon, and the three of them vanish, and the Flash is left there, and then the Flash vanishes again. That reaction shot from Gordon, he holds way too long. Even after we get the joke, it's like he kills the joke by like, wasn't that funny? Oh, let me like repeating the punchline again, and it diminishes the joke. And he does that without the whole entire film.
It does adequately capture the awkwardness of the Flash here.
No, but the joke does, but then it automatically goes to Gordon. If we linger on that shot of Gordon way too long, he even gets like 3 different facial reactions out of that shot. And I'm like, dude, choose one and we're good and move on.
Yeah.
That's where I think
Simmons, you got to get your money's worth here.
Yeah, true. But I think that's where last time we talked was even like this movie could have been 3 hours and 30 minutes just if we would have cut the excess. And I think that's what, to answer your question, the longest
even
fucking
without getting
possible.
story issues.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried about the story issues because we've kind of gone over those, Alan. Yeah. But like just the technical issue or technical aspect of it, I think would be interesting to talk about. As we did.
So Clink, I have a question for you.
Oh, sure.
And Alan, you can answer this as well. If I am, on the outs with my boss, because whatever the reason might be.
Oh, you'd never know that experience, would you?
But I knew that I wanted to get back in those good graces. And I knew that there was something so important to this boss that they would destroy worlds to get it. When I found that thing, let's just call it the anti-life equation. Wouldn't I write the thing down?
So it's not that. It's not an actual equation.
No, it's
like
burnt.
that.
It's shown to us as it's burnt, scorched in the earth. At least get some paper and a stone and maybe rub like etching of it or something, dude. I know where it is now. It's on this planet we've been on the whole time. So fucking dumb, dude.
Or take a picture of it. You are a advanced technical.
Hey, my armor can flex and make nipples poke, but it can't a picture. Get the guy a goddamn cell phone.
Alan, do you know the history of this?
Now, the anti-life equation I know is a big damn deal, but I don't remember what form it takes or anything like that. I know it is vaguely related to Darkseid's power set.
Yeah.
And it's the thing he's always looking for. So I don't know how the MacGuffin you're looking for powers you as well. I guess he's got partial knowledge of it. But it's related to his Omega effect, isn't it? I mean, it's part of that deal.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
From DCFandom.com, the anti-life equation was a transcendental mathematical formula originally said to allow those who knew it to dominate the will of any sentient race. This is the ultimate goal of Darkseid.
So it's the Infinity Gauntlet.
So it's bigger than
yes.
And with a worse name. Anti-life equation is so stupid.
Yes.
All right,
It's
but
DC.
it is iconic in the DC universe, and it is dumb enough to actually have been stolen by an entirely different movie. A movie called Abraxas.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking of at all.
Which
what is this?
stars Jesse the Body Ventura.
Ooh. We should do a season of wrestler movies. Oh, because we already did Frogtown with Roddy.
It is an insanely bad
What's it
movie.
called?
It's called Abraxas.
Abraxas.
Yeah.
So going on to his Omega Beams then, and Omega Sanction, which is crazy. So his Omega Beams can move all over the place, and there's only one person in the comics that has outrun it, which is Batman, which is weird. But he will instantaneously burn you. His Omega Sanctions make you live a life over and over and over again. Each time you live the life over and over and over again, it gets worse. Like you slowly descend into hell forever.
That sounds like my job here.
Oh, jeez.
So it's just reverse Groundhog Day. Got it.
Yeah. But it's crazy. Yeah.
I have another WTF moment. So when the human mother box, right, the mother box that the humans have.
Yes.
When does that happen? I think aren't they storming the compound, the Kryptonian, where the compound where Superman was, and everything happens, right? And there's a whole bunch of soldiers and everybody going and racing in, and I can't remember, but they're all kind of pointing their guns, I think, at the compound, right? There's something going on there. So when Steppenwolf comes and steals the mother box, or almost does,
The Cyborg, they have to get in to get the mother box to resurrect Superman. So they have their mother box, and then they go in to resurrect Superman in the ship because that compound is around the ship.
Okay.
So they have to use the ship. So Cyborg makes it seem like there's an alien pathogen inside the compound, so they all have to evacuate.
How does the mother box get thrown up in the air and land on the car?
It was shot up because of all the power.
Okay. At that time, before the mother box lands on the car, there is a group of supposedly highly trained soldiers all gathered around and within eyeshot and earshot of the car. And the mother box lands and crashes on the car, and none of those soldiers look over at the.
I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, it's WTF. It's like dumb. It's like no.
Well, why
did you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
There's a floating being up above from the explosion. That's gonna kind of take precedent.
I guess.
Because they've seen what floating beings can do to cities, and they're in the middle of a city.
I guess, but it was still a WTF moment for me. But thank you for ruining it.
You're welcome.
Else. Yeah. Yep.
Anything else, Alan?
All right. So before we get to the Joker.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So before we do that, Alan, can I talk about the biggest this movie that I saw?
Aquaman?
No, because whatever, Aquaman, you got to put him in, I guess.
Insert joke.
Insert me anywhere. Tobias Funke.
Yes.
An alrapist. That's how you pronounce it. Why does Stone? So Cyborg, his dad is what's his name? Something Stone. Victor's Cyborg's alter identity. His dad is somebody Stone.
Silas
Stone.
Yep.
Why does he kill himself? He doesn't have to. He could have put the mother box in that room, turned on the laser ray, and it would have been fine.
He was stuck because Steppenwolf walked in.
No, he could have entered that room and made it happen. He didn't have to sacrifice himself. It's a freaking ridiculous thing that they do just for the sake of the story. And they do that all over in this movie, and it still
They do this all over in a lot of movies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess.
It's the whole go on without me, but there's a steamroller and it's going like 2 miles an hour and we're like 50 feet away. No, go on without me. And
that was just kind of the last thing that I saw that was like made me go like, it almost took me out of this wonderful movie. So Alan, what do you have?
Alan, did you watch the black and white version?
No, I didn't watch the
Why
black and
not?
white version. I told you I was not going to watch.
Why would
you? You didn't miss
white
anything,
version.
Alan.
Oh, don't tell him that.
Clink. Is it any
Look,
different in black and white?
Yes.
I am in the middle of a heavy grading cycle, and on top of that, I had to go to HLC for 2 days straight here, virtually at least.
Black and white Justice League sounds like it might have been better than HLC.
Yes.
Oh, it would have been far superior. At least I could complain about it and think it was fun. No, I'm not watching black and white. But
disappointing.
But let's deal with an issue that is related to that. So, all right, why the black outfit for Soups?
I
know why the black outfit exists in like a general sense, but why does he select the black outfit here? What is the deeper?
Can I answer this?
Go ahead.
Do you want me to?
I'll allow it.
Thanks, Clink. And I don't know because I only know from the cover of that comic book back in the day that he ever wore that. I don't know.
He had a mullet too. He should have had a mullet in the movie.
Hockey hair. And again, I'm stealing from somebody else because I didn't come up with this.
Why do I hate the DC universe? I lived through the 90s anyway.
Your hair grows when you're dead. Did you know that, Alan? So there's a chance for you. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
But the idea that's presented and the argument that I'm stealing from somebody who I'm not going to name, so come after me, is that the black suit was chosen because black absorbs heat. And
what? Okay, go ahead.
And it doesn't reflect the rays of the sun. It actually absorbs the rays of the sun because the immediate shot that we see after he puts on the suit is him going up and bathing in front of the sunlight. So the suit being something that would help to harness the solar whatever that gives Superman his powers.
Yeah, and that's the comic book universe one too, where the suit is helping him kind of power back up.
Yes. Okay. I mean, why he wouldn't just be naked?
That's true.
But then again, it's
because we can't have an NC-17.
It's just we'll be rated
sure
R.
as hell we can. Yeah. It's on HBO.
And good point. And Man-Ass only gets you an R rating. It'd be fine.
So
he could be full on Dr. Manhattaning up there.
Exactly.
Yes. Would be fine.
In Snyderverse, though, if you look, so if you've ever seen, and obviously I want people to watch this, but Man of Steel, when you're on Krypton, all the people have black with their emblem of their house. So the S is the House of L.
Right.
So the black
that makes sense.
What it stands for hope.
House
surely,
of
just-
EL,
I know.
but anyway.
I'm just saying.
But so you have the black, and then you have that silver crest there. The blue and the red are supposedly the Earth suits that Superman's trying to, be one with the Earth, one with
He's
humans.
trying to fit in. Because
Trying to fit in. But no, and then the black is kind of going back to his Kryptonian roots, is what I've read too, where he's trying to just really embrace his heritage.
I really think, Alan, that the actual real reason is so that they could sell more action figures.
Yeah, they shot it in the blue and red suit, and then they changed it digitally to the black and gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the ultimate reason is just that the black suit looks cool,
Yeah.
but
Not with that
it's
cape.
just it symbolized a weird dark turn with Supes, and considering that he's trying so desperately not to take that dark turn, it seemed weird to me. But
Yeah.
anyway.
That brings me to
I think the absorbing more light rays. Okay, fine. There.
Because
check.
if we talk about the
I will
juxtaposition,
cease my complaints.
the shot that followed there immediately after, we didn't even see him put him on, right?
Yeah.
We see him walking past a whole bunch of suits. So somewhere Superman got a tailor, and then all of a sudden he's up in the air in front of the sun.
Which brings me to another point. I will say the only good thing I liked about the Joey Whedon cut is the color palette. Because everybody's brighter. Like Wonder Woman has a brighter suit on. Superman has that bright red and blue suit on.
You called him Joey.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It fits, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
There is one thing I liked in the Joey Whedon cut, and it's a joke, which, again, I think Joey does too many jokes, but I think there are places it works. When Wonder Woman lassos Aquaman.
No, he's just sitting on the lasso.
Oh yeah, whatever it is. That's I thought that was funny, but you'd have to do that so early on in the film before there was actually like a threat. The existential threat diminishes and makes all that comedy fucking stupid.
Yeah, but the color palette in this movie, you really don't miss much with the black and white, right? I mean, there's some red spots here and there, but mostly the black and white is the same exact thing.
It's funny because teach photography and all that other stuff, like black and white photography, and this is something I have to get through to the students. It's not shades of gray.
No,
there needs to be a black and a white, because that's the contrast that you're looking for, even when you get muddy in that middle. And it's funny though, because this is called Justice is Gray.
Yeah.
Is the subtitle for this version, and it really is just a muddy mess of gray.
There's some nice blacks in some scenes and nice whites in some scenes.
But not consistently,
yes.
right? This
it's
wasn't
not Schindler's
compare that
List.
to something that's designed to be.
Yes,
that
exactly. Like the costuming has to be completely different if you're going to shoot for black and white than it would be for color.
He just put a black and white filter on this.
Yeah. Should we talk about my Justice is Gay idea?
Oh, geez. Go ahead.
No.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
I was going to allow it
because I'm upset that I was denied that juvenile joke. So.
I think we should hear this.
So yeah, we were going to do it in Technicolor, rainbowy like things, and call it Justice is Gay. Like make it look like Wizard of Oz, not the sepia tone.
Or 300 saying anyway.
That's very immature even for you.
But dude,
the best thing about 300 was the fan mix that somebody made of all the Spartans falling off the cliff to It's Raining Men.
Yeah, perfect.
I never saw that.
See,
hands down, it is the best thing about 300.
Alan is the smart one. Clink is the knowledgeable one.
What?
You're knowledgeable.
Okay.
You bring Alan brings the
Okay.
academic knowledge. You bring like the comic book knowledge. I'm the one that's going to get fired.
Yes.
I like
Fair
to think of
enough.
myself as the heart of the group.
Yeah,
But
I
would that
do.
make you the Wheaton of this group?
Yes, I'm the Joey. How you doing?
Hey,
Not that
Alan.
Joey.
What were we going to say about the Joker?
God, I hate him. There, done.
Moving on.
I mean, I thought that. So Suicide Squad had a bunch of things wrong with it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It just is a litany of just things that were poorly thought out and poorly done. But the thing that just sat on me the most was the suckiness of Jared Leto's Joker. And the fact that they turned him into this weird Machine Gun Kelly ripoff of the Joker, the style doesn't work. Weirdly enough, Harley's style going along with that shockingly works in a Scarface sort of way. That part, they actually got. Surprise, a film director paid more attention to what the woman was wearing than the guy. I've never seen that before. Anyway, the Leto Joker is just not good. So Apex Joker is Mark Hamill's Joker.
What's Apex Joker?
The best.
As in
I thought there was a very
absolute
character.
Essence of the Joker is Mark Hamill's Joker. I'd rate Heath Ledger's Joker right behind that.
Oh, the Joker from Gotham.
Mostly
that kid.
lower just because of all the crappy memes that are made with him in it. It's just overexposure ultimately. And then I'd say Nicholson's Joker probably floats around there too.
I think though Clink's right. I think the Joker, or who may or may not be the Joker, may have just been the inspiration for the Joker. Because I didn't watch the last season of Gotham, but from the kid in Gotham that may or may not have inspired the Joker.
Great job.
Phenomenal job, dude.
Man.
Phenomenal job.
Good.
Yeah. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't like DC
stuff.
He doesn't like DC.
Oh, sorry.
But I still watch some DC stuff.
You're not allowed to watch any. Okay,
Cameron Monaghan is the guy you're talking about.
Go on, Alan. Sorry.
Go ahead.
But anyway, the Leto Joker here, especially, it just highlights the awfulness. And of course, this was being played off as this big thing. Oh, look, Leto's reprising his role as the Joker. Who gives a shit? He's terrible. Yeah. He's legit terrible.
Now, did you get the sense that he was the same? Did you get a sense that he was the same type of Joker, though?
I'm going to speak in a really annoying voice.
Well, that's what the Joker does.
Mock you. I'm going to mock you real bad. You're only one of the people on the earth that has the highest willpower and most self-control ever. But I'm going to get your goat because with some grade school insults. He's terrible.
I'm sensing a lot of disdain from that doctor.
He doesn't like it.
Well, and he's got a lot built up. I mean, from
and
Justice League and
Batman
everything.
sucks in that case too, because he turns around and delivers a grade school insult to the Joker, and the Joker is like ready to have a psychotic break. So, I'm like, you're an idiot. No.
Are you?
Both of these people are actually ridiculously good at manipulating people. They are the best people at manipulating other people in the DC universe.
So while we're talking about,
so why do they suck?
Why do you keep interrupting?
Oh wait,
the
it's because Zack Snyder can't write.
Dude,
he didn't write it though.
Alan is ranting, and you should never interrupt Alan when he's ranting.
Nope. I remember this from class.
Snyder didn't write it though.
So
did he?
There.
I actually have a question.
I don't think he did.
So I think though that end scene, lots of things, the whole dream sequence. This movie is trying to do too much.
Yes,
it's trying to do way too much, and I think the whole Batman dream sequence throughout has zero impact on this film at all. I don't think
it's not a dream sequence though.
Okay, flash forward, flashback in time, whatever it is. In Batman vs Superman, it makes sense because this fear that he has is part of what's driving him to
important to the plot.
Yes. Here, we don't give a Here,
well, then it's the same.
Yeah, and
it's
here,
the same. Oh, Soups is going to kill us all. All right, Soups is going to kill us all.
Outside of any of the dialogue, because I honestly don't remember anything, because by that time my brain had shut off.
Okay,
like Lord of the Rings 10th ending type shutting off. Like, it should have been a post credits scene because it wasn't even at all connected to what was happening in the film itself.
I could see that.
And then at least Alan, the language and the back and forth and the stupidity that's there. Okay, fine, but don't by proximity make it part of the story when it's not part of the story.
Right.
Sorry.
But again, it's here because we're already doing so much and we want to throw in some more fan service. Well, I understand that. I am a fanboy for things other than DC, and I understand how fan service works. I'm not going to begrudge people that. I mean, I've been pandered to in much more obvious ways, so I can't really complain about that.
Shirley, are you going to dance if let you talk?
No, I just have a question.
Go ahead.
If you said Mark Hamill's the best Joker, if Joaquin Phoenix replaced Jared Leto as Joker, does that make this movie better?
I forgot about Joker's Joker.
That could have been cool.
That would have been different.
Because
he would have been super old too.
Well, I mean,
Oh my God! Like heaven forbid, comic books time.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
That's never happened before.
well, Joaquin Phoenix is 46, and Jared.
Yeah, but the time
No.
it's framed. It's set up that the Joker movie actually would happen in 70s,
79, I think,
based
something like
on
that.
Some
Yeah.
of the stuff that goes on in there.
Jared Leto's older than Joaquin Phoenix is. He's 49.
Really?
Yeah, he's 49. And
actually, the Joker movie is in 80.
oh,
Yeah, that's right. It was right.
Because of
79,
the
80.
gay
Yep.
blade.
Yeah.
yeah, so
Very specifically, the movie we watched.
yes.
But Jared Leto does not look as old as Joaquin Phoenix looks.
No.
There's that.
well, Jared Leto's got hair dye going on, so good for
Plus,
him.
he's just a prettier man.
He is very
He's
attractive.
a pretty
yes.
man. My So-Called Life. Do you guys remember Jared Leto from My So-Called Life
I
on
never
MTV?
watched that.
It was okay. It was like melodramatic.
I used to
teen
watch
bullshit,
Daria,
but-
though, but not that.
Yeah. Was he in that?
No. This is Daria. It's the same thing. It's moody teenager stuff.
Yes.
Love it.
Okay.
Alan, Jared Leto's version of Joker in Justice League versus Suicide Squad, do they seem like they're the same Joker? He's thinking. Okay.
I don't even remember him
I
from-
imagine that much like all the other characters in the Flash Forward, he's seen some crap. But
Yes.
that and I've largely flushed a lot of Leto Joker from my memory because it was so grating on me at the time. I think the seagull laugh is certainly played up a little bit more here, but I get the impression they're the same characterization, whether that person has gone through some growth or not, or whatever the Joker would see as growth, is a whole another issue.
Real quick. You hear the theory that the Joker is actually super sane? Like he's sane and he's just doing all this because he sees the insanity of the world?
That he is hyper adapted to our modern world in particular. I don't remember who introduces that one. I don't remember if that's Miller or Alan Moore or Grant Morrison. It could be any of those guys.
Sometimes
they all get into similar stuff.
Sometimes the only way to stay sane is to be insane.
Take note, kids. Stay in school.
That's what I did.
oh boy.
That's how I got here. I never left.
Study chemistry. It makes you happy.
Oh, my.
Oh, man, if we could make some mescaline, we'd be millionaires.
Oh,
right
my.
now.
Whoa, okay.
Hey,
It's chemistry. Aldous
Vanderpool.
Huxley, Doors of Perception.
Do you have any other things you want to talk about?
All of my notes are... let's see here. Arthur comes in. Who's Arthur?
Aquaman.
Oh, that's Aquaman.
Arthur Curry.
And he's got, like, here's another stupid line. How we know you're not working for them? Like, there's just, like, some of the stuff in here is so dumb. We talked about this last week, the Martian Manhunter being Martha. What is it? How many M's can you fit in a sentence?
He's the Martha man.
Yes, exactly.
Which, at the end...
Why is Wonder Woman stronger than the other Amazons? I don't understand that.
they
because
explain
she's
that
special and awesome.
because she's
and
Zeus's daughter. And made out of clay, but also Zeus's daughter, depending on which part of the movie you
I don't
watch.
know. This is BW, and this was before I watched the black and white version. So, like, somewhere here, oh, Bruce Wayne on a horse is stupid. Like, at the very beginning when he's going to find Arthur and Aquaman, like, okay, I get, and then they explain, oh, helicopter can't fly in the snow. It's not that much snow, and it's Batman.
He just wants to.
Stupid. Yeah, exactly. Lord of the Rings.
Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look cool.
I got my tool theory, but we don't have time for that. I'm good. I've shot my load. I'm good.
Oh,
one last thing. I do have one quote, Alan.
Wish. Anyway, continue.
I do have one quote. Fuck the world.
No, jeez.
Cyborg says it when Diana asked him to care about the world. And he did his best Tupac.
Alan, do you have anything else you'd like to add to this?
You're twisted.
Yeah, we know. That's why I'm fun.
Just bears saying again.
I like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. There, done.
He was a good
They
Alfred,
did
yeah.
more
So
Alfred.
we did 4 hours of podcasting for
Or
that.
him fussing over the tea.
That I like that scene because it shows that he actually cares about what he does, and he's very much a servant
Meticulous.
and very meticulous, and he wants to do it.
Total control freak, despite being a
Oh,
sub.
good God. We have to hurry up because we still have to talk about what we learned and what we're going to do next time.
Yeah.
Alfred tops from the bottom. But anyway,
What should I Google that, or is that going to get me caught in trouble?
don't worry about it.
Thank you.
You're young. You'll find out about it later.
Sounds like it could be in Justice is Gay.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
So what did we learn? We learned that I have mental problems.
We already
Or we already knew that, yeah, so never mind. Clink, what did you learn? Alan, what did you learn?
I learned that apparently laughing like a seagull is really menacing. But anyway,
It is
How would you know, Clink?
because I just did it in the beginning. And I felt menaced.
Alan, what did you learn? I mean, I already did that. Clink, what did you learn?
You already did that too.
He didn't say anything, though. He opened his mouth like he was going to talk, and then nothing fell out, so we gave him time to refresh.
I learned that it's okay to have different opinions as long as we can all agree that we can disagree.
I think we can all agree that this is better than the Whedon cut.
That's true.
I think we established that at the beginning. We'll establish it at the
Yes.
end. I have to admit it. It's better.
I learned that if your movie is longer than 4 hours, you should call a doctor.
Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Oh, holy mackerel. All right. What are we going to do next time? Because this was a bonus episode that we're going to kind of drop here and there, and it's not even going to fit into the sequence
So
of
We're
the timeline.
going right
so,
back to my rightful choice, which was Bubba Hotep.
ooh. Bubba
Kids,
Hotep.
stay tuned for the next episode of Because You Watched.
Star Crash.
Oh, no,
wait,
come
whoosh. Well, because the next episode might have been the last episode, so we don't really care. Sequence be damned.
Well,
it's a
this-
time travel podcast.
This episode doesn't fit into any season or anything. It's just a standalone special like the Christmas one we shot.
It's a bottle episode.
Right now, it's kind of just a fest. We just do whatever the
So, because you're allowed to say it doesn't mean you should every single sentence.
I agree
As a
with
comma.
Clink.
Nope, it's like the word Smurf. Let's go. Let's go. Thing.
Oh, Smurf you.
Yes, Smurf, you too. All right, I don't have anything else. Alan, you good?
I'm good.
Clink, you good?
I'm good.
Surely we don't care what you think. All right, bye, folks.
Bye, folks.
Bye.